Yep.
So, Lauren, is Debbie
30th
here
of
too, or-
October, Rabbi Furst, Mishna Berura.
Now, Debbie won't be here till December. She's moving her parents.
Reading in the Sefer, not supposed to use the wood from the curtain rods for that purpose, because it's still not, that's a lower, less level of kedusha to those
Yeah,
things.
Kedusha than the. Oh, interesting. I would have thought the other way, but
Okay, well, let's see the Mr. Brewer. Let's give the Mr. Brewer a chance. We'll see what he has to say. That brings us to the Mr. Brewer in Sifkat and Chaftet.
Kaftes in lo Kedushas Aron. There doesn't have the kedusha of the Aron. The Vizmanenu Lolam Ein Nosnin Alav Sefer Torah below Mitpachas. Because in these days you don't have a Sefer Torah that doesn't have a cover on the Sefer Torah itself.
Right. You know, all our Sefer have maples on them, so they meaning it's not directly. Even the Aron itself is not touching it's maybe touching the Eitz Chaim's, but it doesn't really touch the Sefer Torah itself.
Lasos Meparoches Mapa Shala Sukan Ala Shulchan. You're allowed to take the paroches and use that as the cover for the table you're reading on.
Good. Okay, that'll be permissible, because that actually you'll be using it. You'll be in more direct contact with the Sefer Torah than if it's just hanging there as the curtain on the outside of the arm.
The Tzorich Ian Lama Nagu La Parsu La Chupa La Chasanim. You have to look into why we would use, whether we can use the parochos as a chuppah for chasanim. Okay.
How could he use the parochos? How could he use the parochos for the chuppah because at chasanis, right? Because that's a
V'after Delav based in Masus Aleihim. And it could be that Basin is not really happy about this. Kamosh Kasu B'Sif Ches was right in Sif Ches. Rock Kedusha is basic Knesses, only has Kedusha is basic Knesses. V'after Rock Tashmish detachment. It's only a secondary level of usage. Mikol Makom Lo Gara Mishar clay based in Knesses, and it's not worse than any of the other kalim in the basic Knesses. Shadinim kabasic Knesses, so they didn't like the basic Knesses. Val shar tashmish, the tashmish ain't of the basic Knesses, but other secondary uses that are not in the basic Knesset itself, going to tefillin ukadoma, like the tefillin sekos and things like that. Into kedusha's klal, they have no kedusha at all.
right.
Lamed Aleph, Kadosh, they're not Kodesh. Jen Lo Lenoy, they're not done for beautification. Lo Lamalbush of recovering, Rakla Simon Baal Shalo Yitahu. They're just the simon itself. You should know that there's something there. You should be careful, not make mistakes. Yakin Hare Horada min Kedushas basic Knesses. Therefore, they have a lower Kedusha than the basic Knesses itself. Yakshav Shenagula Litlos Hayad b'Sefer Torah Lenoy. Now we hang the yad on the Sefer Torah for beautification purposes. Im Kain Tashmis Kedushas Ava. Then it becomes a Tashmis of Kedusha, and it has a higher level. Kivadai Mutter Lasos mi Kolonosim. Then it would be permissible to take the curtain rods, the prokus, and use them for a yad. So the yad has a higher level of kedusha at this point.
Right. Okay.
Isa b'sefer Chasidim Siman Tuf Kuf Lamed Hey the Aser Lahaniach B'toch Aron HaKodesh Urios Psulim, and it's brought in the Sefer Chassidim and Simon Tuf Kuf Lamed Hey, that it's usher to put Pasal Ritzuos into the Aron.
This is Urios are the clothing from the Sefer Torah. You know, we have 3 columns on the Urios. So that's a Uria is one section of parchment which carries three columns on the Sefer Torah.
Okay. The Have Horedes Kedusha, because that lowers the Kedusha. Magen Avram, Kosav, the Efsha, the Shari Mishum, the Lav based in Masas Olahem. And according to Magen Avram, it might be permitted to put them in the Aron. But it says Mishum, the Lav based in Masas, because the base
Lave based in Masna. I mean, there's a general rule in all these halachas that when you're building or buying things for the Beit Knesset, the based in, meaning it could be designed to be ve'ir or within in the charter of the shul, the Beit Knesset, it says have specific clauses that anything's being bought, these things are being bought, that they can be used for other purposes, or maybe perhaps even changed from one level of sanctity to another. But that it's limited. But many times you do have these things that if you make this clause, either the Beis Din says it verbally, or as I said, it could be written into the charter. So therefore, it could be that therefore it wouldn't have the sanctity, and therefore you could use it for something which is perhaps even less than its sanctity kedusha right now.
Okay. V'kein kosa belia rabba b'shem
Knesses Agadola.
Yare Knesses Agadola. The Nogim lehaniach b'toko Euros b'sulim. The demand is to put also Euros into the Aron Kodesh. But Chamushim Mushar Sfarim, but the Chamushim and other Sfarim Yesh Lezaher. You have to be careful. Lo yaniach b'toko afil lefi shah. You shouldn't put them inside the Aron even in an emergency. Sefer Torah munach b'toko, or whether or not there's a Sefer Torah in the Aron. Aron habenui b'choma, and an Aron that is built into the wall. Lefi mechubel la'ayel mevar. I'm sorry. Lefi hamavar la'ayel b'sif gimel, as we explained above in Sif Gimel. B'hagad and Hagad the Yeshlo rock. Kedusha's basic Knesset, that only has the Kedusha of basic Knesset, since it's in the walls itself as opposed to being separate. Sorry, then it would be much to put their Urios in there.
Good, very good.
The Ayin Taz, Shemafafef Katsas, Ama Shenoagim, and seeing the Taz who, I guess, complain about what we're doing.
He questions. And there's complaining a bit.
Ma Shenogim B'Hoshana Rabbah. On what we do in Hoshana Rabbah, Shal Acher Shemotzi Es Sefer Torah Shom and Shom Ner Dolek. That after we take out the Sifrei Torah, I guess this is for simplest Torah. We put the candles into the Aron, lit candles into the Aron. Very dofen Aron Kodesh Tashmish L'Oso Aner, and the walls of the Aron Kodesh become used by the candles.
Right, which that would be a like a mundane purpose compared to having the Sifrei Torah rest in there. So therefore, the Talmud is not happy with that custom.
Produce Aaron who Dafka Bish also Soshahaya Kavuli Olam. And the Kedusha of the Aaron is permanent.
Yeah, because that the Kedusha of the Aaron is specifically that it takes on the Kedusha, that level of sanctity of the Aaron becomes sanctified when it's going to be, right, specifically when it's going to be put there for permanent usage, meaning if the person is using a Sefer Torah and they put it there only temporarily, the Aron that he puts it in will not necessarily have Kedusha to it. But if he, for some reason, he has it there and he puts it and intends to keep the Sefer Torah there on a regular, permanent basis, then the whole Aron becomes sanctified and has a level of kedusha to it. Can't be rescinded unless we made a special conditional statement before that.
V'az afilu nisyashan ha'aron v'asay acher. And this is the case even if, I guess, they placed the Aron and built another one?
Right, and even if they replace the Aron, but now if the Sefer Torah is really put in the first Aron permanently, so therefore it's not the first Aron going to lose its kedusha.
If I feel hachi ain l'tashmish berishon l'haredo b'kedusha also. Even in this case, when you replace the Aron, you don't lessen the kedusha of the first Aron. The also and also lizman adshi yarchiv Hashem kodesh karoi. But if you build the first one as a temporary thing until you can build a more permanent one, Lakshos and Aron Hasheni, after you build the second one, the Nispato Kedusha Aron Arishon. Then the Kedusha of the first one is Mevatel since it was only done temporarily.
Right.
Okay, with Lasom Betochos Sfarim. Therefore, it's mutter to put Sfarim into the first Aron since it has no Kedusha anymore. But Aser Latashmish B'Sefer Hanaaso.
That also is Stamish the Sefer Lanos. I mean, I think he's referring to the Sefer Torah. It's also to use the Sefer Torah for your own hana, your own benefit, right?
L'tanen mipnei hachama, to cool yourself off, to make shade in during the sun.
Right.
Yira chavero masha osai, that you don't scare your friend, but for what you're doing.
No, that your friend should not see you from what you're doing. I mean,
I'm not sure what that means.
Well, you can't hide behind the Sefer Torah.
Right? Sefer acher tacha sefer shalom bo. You put another sefer under the one you're reading from today, lahagbiu, in order to raise it up a little bit. Yesh lahatu, there's permission to do that. Munach sefer echad, if one sefer is resting there, muter lahaniach sefer acher alav, then it's supposed to put another sefer on top of it. Ukasher hashemesh, so rachas al sefer shalom bo, when the sun passes over the sefer that you're reading, that you're learning from, yesh lahakel b'makom hadchak l'tagim b'sefer acher lios l'tseil. Then, in case of necessity, then you can use another sefer as shade while you're trying to learn. Keeps you eno osa lahanaso, since it's not being done for your benefit.
It's not like getting direct hana. Like if you want to make shade from a sefer, like let's say for shade, you're not getting, I think, direct again. Let's see, when you have the sun shining in on a sefer that you're learning from, and you've been learning from the sefer, and the sun is shining in. You can be mako in a makom dechak if it's a difficult situation to be shielded by the sefer with using its shade, because you're not doing it for your hanaso. Meaning you didn't place the sefer there for your hana. You are getting hana. It's an indirect hana. You're getting benefit from the shade which is cast by the sefer, but you didn't put it there in order to should actually do that for you, but it's doing that automatically. So therefore, there is to be makel. Whether you should actually do it or not, that's another story, but there is to be makel in such a situation.
Okay. Lo yishartate contrace ala sefer. I don't know these words.
That that you're making the lines. The strategy is to make lines of kuntras ala sefer, meaning you want to use like the sefer Torah of some sort to make like a straight edge to make lines on another parchment or another sefer, right? So you can't use the sefer that's kedusha to use that as a straight edge to make the shritim are the straight edge lines that they would, when they would write swime, they didn't have ruled paper, so they would have to write and make lines on it to make the lining on each piece of parchment or paper that they had. So you couldn't use the safer for the straight edge that you would make the lines with.
Conscious, Adayan and Bokadush, because the commentary itself doesn't have any kedusha assigned to it. Aval ish kvar kosev alav divrei Torah yesh lahakel imhud sarach. But when you're writing words of divrei Torah, you can be makel due to necessity. Al yaniach kuntris shelo nichtav bam divrei Torah. You shouldn't put a notebook that you haven't written divrei Torah in. B'sefer v'lo shum davar. You shouldn't put this on top of the sefer or not any other thing.
Right. Meaning, and don't put anything else on the safer either.
Right.
A blank notebook shouldn't be put on a safer, nor any other thing should be put on a safer.
Pshita liktav b'sefer cheshbonos ha'aser, and clearly to write accounts onto the sefer is going to be aser. Lo yiniach bo bekolmos, and if you only, I'm sorry, below you don't say bo bekolmos, and kolmos is a
That's
feather.
the quill, right? So you're not supposed to yes, okay, let's say the us the lawyer Nisa. You mean you want to test it out, if you, I don't know if you've had experience with the quills. You want to test it out, you want to blot the ink. So you shouldn't use the blot any ink on it to test out the coolness.
V'tzorach l'machos b'koshri ha'sfarim she'medubakim beluchos ha'sfarim kisei kodesh. And you need to erase the knots. I don't know the knots in the farm.
So no, you have to protest.
Oh.
The binders, you have to protest against those who bind svarim, right? Shinit bakim beluchos svarim kisvei kodesh, that they use as the binding. They use the luchos of svarim kisvei kodesh. The luchos, those are like the galleys, the print galleys of svarim. So many times because you have to realize that paper was very expensive and very rare. So when they would be binding svarim, you see it even today in older svarim, you see that they use the for the binding of the spine. The binding of the spine, you see sometimes on the inside there, right? You see that they use paper from other svarim in the gluing together the binding of the spine. So you have to protest against those bookbinders that use the galleys that were printed galleys of Kisvei Kodesh. They use that for the binding of the spine that they're binding at the time. You have to protest against that practice.
Yadu Hamabed Kisvei Kodesh Oved Belav Delotase Kain Lashem Okehem, and somebody who is doesn't treat these respectively as over lav. Vafil im nomar de zahir shlo yimchok shem hateva. And even if he's careful to not erase the names of Hashem, kumforish l'shemos, or the specific names. I'll call upon him whom moridin v'kedushasam who usher gomor. In all cases, this lowers the kedusha and is completely usher.
Right. Uh-huh. Okay, so that's completely us, right? Very good. Okay, that brings us to the end of Lamed Aleph, which is the end of Sif Vav. Tomorrow we'll begin with Sif Zion, Mitzvah Shem.
All right, have a good day, everybody.
Hey,
Thank you.
Yeshkayach, Lauren.
Everyone have a
ahead.
good day.
Eliezer, thank you, Rabbi.
Talk to you later.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Eliezer Tzvi.
Okay, have a
Have a
good
good day,
day.
Mayor.
You too, Lou.